Hi there. My name is Tina Franzen, and I'm the Technology Services Consultant for Trillium Lakelands District School Board. I'm here today to go through a video with you that was actually inspired by Lori Lunschlager. She is a teacher at Queen Victoria Public School, and she teaches grade 1 and 2. So she's been using Scratch Junior with her students, and she has actually many activities. So I'm going to do one with you right now, and this is going to be doing some math facts. So we're going to be in the Scratch Junior platform. So while I'm going through how you can do this particular activity, doing where we're going to actually do a math sentence, what I'm going to show you some tricks and tips about using Scratch Junior to do that with your students. All right, so first things first, we're going to go into our Scratch Junior environment. So I'm going to tap on the home. And because I'm on a Chromebook and because I keep using the same device, luckily my projects are still saved here. So I did mention in another video about how to get started with Scratch Junior that on Chromebooks, your projects don't save. But that is, of course, if you are not using the same device, that's kind of the trick right there. So just make sure you keep using the same Chromebook and you're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to tap and create a new project. And the idea behind this is Lori's saying that we're going to have some characters, so some sprites on the stage. And then what's going to happen is have the second stage appear with more characters. And then the student can either do a speech bubble or use their voice to indicate how many characters are now on the stage. Now, she did indicate that you could have, let's say 3 cats and 2 dogs, and therefore we now have 5 animals on the stage. I'm sure that you could have various different animals. You can play with that idea or having the same animal that then appears on the second stage. And then again, just making sure our students are indicating how many animals we do now have. So let's do that. I'm going to get rid of Scratchy the cat first. So we haven't done this yet in one of our videos. So what I'm going to do is hold down. So I'm going to hold down with my finger. So again, I am using a touchscreen Chromebook, so that helps here. I'm going to hold it down, and this does work on a tablet as well. I'm going to tap on that little X, and that gets rid of Scratchy the cat. Now I'm going to tap on the plus sign. And now I have to decide which character I would like to use. So this is where, I mean, I'm sure your students would be more than happy to pick any animals or characters that they would love here. So it depends on to you whether you want them to have that option. I'm going to tap a frog. And I'm going to tap on now the check mark to indicate that, yep, this is what I want. And there we go, I have a frog. Now, the idea being is that we're going to have multiple characters. And in this case, I'm going to have the same character. So I'm going to want to have more than one frog. I can choose to code something with the frog if I wanted to. So maybe I want the frog to hop at this point. I could do those little things, and it's just kind of a good reiteration of the movement blocks that you can do in here and sequence events when you're coding. So I could do that really quickly. So by tapping over on the left-hand side are my event blocks. I'm going to grab the green flag. So when we start the program, what is my frog going to do? And I think in this case, I'm going to have the frog hop. So I'm going to grab this guy. Oops. And this is where you can have your students kind of figure out, what does the 2 mean when you're hopping here? So what does that mean? Does it mean you're going to repeat like the number of times you're going to do a hop? Does it indicate how high the frog is going to hop? And this is where you can explore. So if I were to tap the code right now or the green flag at the top, so let's tap that. There's my frog hopping. So let's actually add a different number there. Let's see what happens if I do something, let's say significantly higher. Let's say number 8. Tap the code again. And you can see now, okay, so this actually indicates how high the frog is going to jump. So this is where the kids can have a little bit of fun in deciding how high they want to jump. And you can have another series of events, what's happening, maybe more hopping, things like that. That's, again, completely up to you. But I do like to take advantage of this opportunity to do a series of events, which are sequential events for a character. All right, so I'm just going to quickly grab one more. I'm going to do maybe another hop here. And this time I'm going to do a smaller hop, and maybe I'll do one more hop and maybe kind of do in the middle. So we're going to do a big hop, small hop, and then something right, let's say around 6 or maybe 5. But I'll just leave it like that. Let's test my code. once, twice, 3 times. And there we go. So there's my frog. Now, if you recall, I would like to have more than just one frog. So what I'm going to do is I can do a couple things actually. I can grab another frog right now, so which I can do, and then copy the code over so another frog will hop in the same manner, or I can change it up. So let's go to our sprites first. Let's tap, grab the frog, check mark. Now I have a new frog, and you can see that there's no code here. It's because I did not code for this new frog. So you can place it wherever you want. Maybe I'll have it higher, lower, it doesn't matter to me. And what I could do, and I want to show you a little trick here with the previous code, how you can copy it over to your new frog. I'm going to tap back to my original. I'm going to take this code, I'm going to tap and drag it to my new frog. So to do that, I'm going to drag it over to the new frog there, and it makes a little bloop sound. So let's see if it worked. There we go. There's exact same code. So if I toggle between the two, you can see it's exactly the same. So again, I can choose to change those numbers, or maybe I want to do a different little events for the frogs. But the whole focus here is really about that math fact about how many, let's say, frogs or animals do I have on the screen. Okay, so now that I have this done and I have my two frogs, what I'm going to do is set up the stage for a new stage. So where we have more animals come in. So what I'm going to do is on the far right hand side, you'll see there's like a box here and it has a number 1. I'm going to tap underneath it. So on the right hand side, and now I have a new one. And again, Scratchy the cat appears. If you recall, all I have to do is hold it down. It wiggles. I have the X now. Tap on that. I get rid of Scratchy the cat. Now what I could do is, again, I would like to have those frogs from the previous screen. I don't want to go through a whole lot of work just to get the exact same frogs with the jumping piece. I'd like to replicate that. So here's another little trick for you. I'm going to go back to my first scene. So back to the first stage. Tap back on number 1. There we go. And what I can do here is drag, and this is a bit tricky, I have to say. I think on tablets it works a little nicer, but with my touch screen, I'm going to tap and I'm going to drag the frog over to my scene 2. Okay, so it didn't take. I want to make sure not to click on that X because otherwise I'm going to delete it. So let's see if I can drag it. Oh, there we go. I finally got it to work. So persevere. And you know what? Worst case scenario, it doesn't work for you. That's okay. Grab a new frog, put in the code real quick, and it shouldn't take you too long. Even with just one in here, I might just save myself that headache of trying to drag one over. I'm going to go back to number 2. And what I'm going to do is now duplicate again. So I'm going to do another frog here. So I'm going to quickly go in, tap, frog, check mark, and go back to my first frog, drag that code. This was way easier than trying to copy over the frog over to my second scene. And now again, I have replicated the situation. I can move my frogs to where I want. So a little bit higher, doesn't have to be perfect. And there we go. Now to get that math fact where we're going to add more characters, this is where I'm going to now keep in my stage 2 and decide what new sprites I'm going to add. So let's say, keeping with this theme, you know what, we can add pretty much anything we want. What I might do is add, let's say, a fish. Okay, so I now have a fish. And I would like maybe add another fish, but again, what I might do is just do some coding. What do I want the fish to do while I'm in here? So I could have a little bit of fun with it. I could just have it kind of moving around, whatever you want. The kids, this is great. The creativity of the kids come in. I'm going to do it on green flag as well. And I'm just going to have this guy moving. All right, so let's do our motion blocks. And I'm just going to go like that. And what I could do here is I could have a little fun with this, is that rather than just moving one thing at a time, I could just have the fish going around and around and around. And to do that, there's a cool block of code here. So it's under the red code. And it's the middle one. You're going to see it's kind of like this looping around, kind of like this infinite situation, which will actually mean an infinite set of movements. So let's test this. Let's see what this looks like. So tap that there. Click on just the code. I'm not going to tap the big green flag. Let's take a look. Yeah, there you go. So we now have a fish moving on the screen, and it's going to go like that forever and ever because it's an infinite type loop. Now, what we could do at this point, I'm just going to tap on the red stop sign to stop the motion, is now grab another fish. Same idea. And now what I could do is, again, what we did earlier is I'm going to grab the code from the first fish, drag it up to my new fish, and there we go. And if I were to click the green flag at the top this time so that we can test it for our other animals, there we go. All right, so we didn't get to our math fact yet, but we did have a lot of fun doing some coding and bringing some characters. Now what we'll want to do is our students to go from one scene, so from stage 1 to stage 2, and then they can again, so Lori is saying, hey, you can actually use a speech bubble, or you can use voice messaging to give the math fact of how many animals do we now have on our stage. All right, so to do that, I'm going to go back to our first scene at the top. And I want to make sure that we get to the second scene. So to do that, since I'm still in the red blocks, is the perfect opportunity for you to see that I have the first red block is just a normal stop, just kind of just regular. The middle one's that one where it goes infinite. So you can have whatever you're doing, a series of events, and just keep going and going and going forever till you hit the stop sign. And then the last one appears when you have a new stage that appears. You get this new red block that says, hey, after you're done all this, now you're going to go to the next stage. So that's exactly what we're going to do. It doesn't matter to do it whether frog 1 or frog 2. I'm just going to do this. Let's test our code, because what we should see happen is that it's going to highlight the blocks as it goes through. And then when it hits that red block, it's going to now take me to the second stage. And then we'll see the fish appear with the frogs. Let's test it. So I'm going to tap the green flag at the top. And there we go. So now we're in the second stage, and we have our fish and we have our frogs. And there we're ready to now indicate how many characters do we have, or how many animals, creatures do we have on the stage. So let's do that. So I will model it with a speech bubble and with your voice. So I'm going to pick one of these characters. I think I'm going to do it with the frog. And I'm going to do it after they're done hopping. That's when the message will appear. So let's take a look at where we're going to go here. So we do have, this is where I'm going to do the recording of the voice. And we're going to go to the purple. And there's our speech bubble. I'm going to tap on the word hi. And this is where the student will want to indicate that there are now 4 characters or 4 animals on the screen. They can even say maybe 2 frogs. And this is where Ms. Launschlager, Lori, may have had very specific instructions. Again, you can think about how you want your students to say this with their math fact. I will get into a little more detail. I'm going to say there's 2 frogs and 2 fish, which gives me 4 animals. Okay, maybe a little lengthy, but that's okay. Let's take a look. So I'm going to click on the green flag, and we'll see how this all plays out. All right. So don't forget, now when I click the green flag, I was still already in scene 2. So I could, if I wanted to have it played out. So if I'm going to go back to actually to the first scene, let's click the green flag again so we see the full thing together. And there we go. So now let's add the audio piece. I am going to leave the speech bubble in there, but now I'm going to just tap on the other frog, and I will show you how, oops, the first frog, and I'll do now the speech piece, which might be easier for kids to communicate. And it's so much fun to hear their voices. So I'm going to tap on the microphones, like a grayed out microphone. And now I'm going to record my message. I had 2 frog. Now I have 2 fish. So in total, I have 4 animals. So take that new recording here. I'm going to go back right from the very beginning. I'm going to do this one last time. Click on the green flag and let's see how this plays out. I had 2 frogs. Now I have 2 fish. So in total, I have 4 animals. I think I said frogs in a singular sense there, but that's okay. I can redo that recording if I really wanted to as well. So I can scrap that one, do a new recording, and replace it if I like. But if I'm happy with it, well, the last thing you could do is have your students name this program. There's no way for them on a Chromebook to send it to you, but you can create stations, and there's various ways of how you can do this on how to assess the code. But for now, I'm just going to even just name it. So I'm going to tap on the very top right-hand corner. There's this yellowish box, yellowish orange box. Tap on that. And this is where you can name it. Math Fact Project, something like that. And tap on the check mark. And now I'm good to go. All right, so hopefully this is an activity that you can use with your students to not only just code, but also have them code with sharing a math fact with you. All right, take care.